Next up, we will look at the rise of contractor-led procurement, which has impacted the design management role. Construction design management was defined in the 1990s, and since then the construction industry has also more and more adopted contractor-led procurement routes like design build and contractors design portion. As the construction industry has grown and seen an increase in complex projects, there has been a corresponding need to expand the design management field to include the management of design during pre-construction, construction operations, and in use. Initially, the role was limited to the review and coordination of design information, resolving buildability issues, and dealing with RFIs, requests for information, and managing change. Before we go any further, we should ask why there are modules like this, focusing on contractor-led and design-build procurement. The reason is because many design and technical managers in the UK work on design-build developments, and many government-funded projects also require earlier main contractor involvement during the design stages. It directly impacts the job that we are expected to do. Design managers are generally appointed to join either the developer's team, the main contractor, and in some cases represents a specialist subcontractor or a design consultancy. Design build around the world. The Handscope survey indicates a sharp rise in the use of design build in the UK to over 50% of the total market share, in comparison to only 8% back in 1995. And this period of time also aligns closely with the increased need for design managers. The demand for design managers is significantly lower in places such as Italy and South Africa, where contractor-led and design-build procurement is a less popular route for investors. In contrast with places like France, where D&B procurement is the norm, and project managers are often trained to also coordinate the design. However, the design management post is also commonplace and popular in the Gulf region, on traditional procurement contracts, where clients require additional design representation, especially considering the scale of the projects and the remoteness of many of the design teams and stakeholders who might be located abroad. What is design build? It can be described as a dynamic construction project delivery system. This approach represents an alternative to the traditional design tender build system, whereby the main contractor takes singular responsibility and is accountable for the design, cost, program, and performance of the build. With design build procurement, the contractor is responsible for undertaking both the design and construction work on a project for an agreed lump sum price. Design build also offers scope to test the design against the expert views of constructability and an accurate cost in use during earlier design development stages. As more design responsibility shifts from the employer and investor across to the main contractor, the less risky and more cost-effective it can be for the client. Nowadays, many high-performance and ambitious projects have been completed using the design-build form of procurement, and it is fast becoming the norm in the UK construction industry. Let's do a simple comparison between traditional forms of procurement and contractor-led design-build forms of contract. On a traditional project, the contractor might only be involved in the construction and manufacturing stages after the tendering stage, with very little design input. With the design-build procurement route, however, the contractor is involved early on and could possibly traverse through all design stages of the RIBA plan of work. This engagement will require higher levels of coordination by the main contractor and their design managers. At this point, it is worth examining the most basic form of contractor-led procurement, namely turnkey contracts, because these were the original design-build contracts, which we have long since moved on from, as design-build contractors are now able to tender and complete high-spec and complex buildings. Turnkey contracts offer a client a single point of responsibility as the contractor delivers both the design and the build. It is commonly used with buildings with high levels of standardization of components and building systems. It is more suited to straightforward projects and often used for civil buildings and ideal for special facilities like laboratories and also industrial buildings and warehouses. When tendering, there can be a higher cost disparity if the client hasn't provided detailed designs and specifications to use when tendering. On a domestic scale, for example, loft conversion contractors provide a turnkey solution. The loft contractor might duplicate the layouts, the details, the materials over and over on each project and offers a lump sum price, which often includes basic drawings required for building control approval and planning permission if required. They do not require a design manager and seldom need a full external design team either. To summarize, we can say that the increased demand for standalone design managers is linked to the rise in contractor-led and design-build forms of procurement. We have moved on from the simplicity of turnkey projects to completing complex and prestigious developments with main contractors leading the way with the design and the build. Design-build developments require high levels of design coordination, especially if there are numerous contractor design portions and large numbers of designers. Usually design managers work for the design-build clients or investor, main contractor, and their subcontractors, and are also appointed as consultants to facilitate the design teams. Thanks so much. This is the end of the module.